Welcome to the Questions and Possibilities podcast. I'm Dr. Terry Hope, and I invite you to join us for dynamic conversations with powerful changemakers, visionaries, leaders, and brilliant creators from around the globe. These unique and powerful conversations are a place to explore the voices of possibility and creation of future, wondrous curiosities of those seeking and choosing to create a greater world. Hi there, and welcome to today's conversation. I'm here with the brilliant and wonderful Trenton Trevelyan. I had the pleasure of meeting Trenton at the Workplace Wellness Conference where I was a speaker, and we had the most intriguing conversation. Trenton comes to us with 12 years of experience and well-educated in the world of holistic health. He did 3 years in dietetics, personal training, nutrition, and business at Louisiana Tech University, and now is certified as a health coach with the Institute of Integrative Nutrition. That's a fantastic way to bring things to the table for people. And now you're directing, managing the program at Origin Bank, right? As a health and wellness program manager. Yeah. But you weren't always, personally, you didn't always come from that place of wellness is always my thing. Your life started somewhat differently.
It did. It started really differently. Actually, it started out, I was overweight at the age of 12 and 13 after my parents had gotten a divorce. And from that, I started emotional eating, and that was what led me to getting bullied in high school and junior high. After that, I realized that I wanted to make a change, and then I became super obsessed with fitness. And when I fell in love with working out, it made me fall in love with learning about the human body. And ever since then, it's been my passion. I've also had lots of ups and downs through high school and into college, and I've gone through addiction, and I've gone through lots of different traumatic experiences through my life, but it ultimately led me to holistic health coaching, which is what I do now, working for Origin Bank. So that's kind of my story a little bit.
Yeah, and what's interesting to me is what I got from our conversation is you actually built the current program that is instituted in the bank, correct?
I did. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say it's fantastic because not every organization is doing it from that approach.
Yes, well, when I brought the idea, I had just graduated from the Institute of Integrative Nutrition in April of 2021. That's when I graduated. I'd actually started in the maintenance and mailroom, and I was sorting mail and helping clean facilities and whatnot. My boss at the time, Dwayne Gray, had mentioned to me because I had talked to him about what I was learning, and because I was in school at the same time working in that department. And I began telling him what I wanted to do in corporate wellness. Well, he told me I should take the idea to management. And that's when I took it to Lonnie, my boss now, the greatest boss in the world. I took him the idea, and it took a little bit of time. And then I met with Drake Mills, the CEO of the bank, and he asked me to put together a presentation. And from there, it kind of manifested itself after a few months of really working hard and doing a ton of research. And I pitched the idea to the bank, and they took it, and now we're number 2 best bank to work for in America for a lot of reasons.
That's fantastic. Because you have to imagine, I know that there's this whole idea right now where organizations there's an idea. We're not saying that it's true, but there's an idea that institutions, organizations need to take better care of their employees. And somehow there's an essence of that, true or not true, that it's the organization that has to do it. And then the person, that the people that work there, the employees, they have nothing to do with it. It's all it seems like this one-sided approach where it's kind of like the fault of the organization, not the impotence of the employees. And it's interesting because when I was looking at research on wellness in the workplace, even when people have healthcare programs like going to the gym and those kinds of things, massage therapy, or those add-ons for the organization. Only 6% of the people actually use them. So we can't say necessarily, like it's a two-sided coin, right? We can't say necessarily because it's there and then people aren't using them. And in fact, the people who are using them are those who are healthy. And then there's what you're doing and instituting at the bank, which is so interestingly unique, because I got the sense that you have a higher rate of people using the wellness program. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Yes. So I love the culture that I work for. Origin Bank has one of the most amazing cultures. We offer so many benefits to our employees, and the president and the CEO of the bank really take pride in taking care of their employees. With the work-life balance, that's one of the main things that we focus on here at Origin Bank. And one thing that we take pride in is making sure that our employees take care of themselves. What I do is I offer individualized, customized programs to these people, and it's tailored to their goals. So it's completely confidential. They get a complete confidential space to talk about what they're dealing with in their life and in their career and how they can better themselves. Alongside of this, there's also a program at the bank called Dream Manager. And what Dream Manager does is it's a 12-month program that allows employees to explore what kind of dreams they have in their personal life. And it helps them to develop different exercise and tactics to kind of build a life of their dreams. And along with that, a lot of people's goals in life are to be healthy. And so with that, it's kind of attached to the wellness program, and we work together with these employees to better themselves. And so that's kind of how it works. We provide our employees with a space to be able to talk about what it is that they're struggling with, and we provide them with exercises and tactics to help heal themselves.
That's fantastic. It's really fantastic. Is there a high percentage? So I was mentioning the 6%, which I thought was really low when you think about the amount of money that's spent to institute these things. Do you find that most people within your bank are interested in looking at, because it's there for them and you have such a unique program, do you find there's a lot of people that are more delving into it than previously?
Oh, for sure. Currently, I've worked with over 185 of our employees out of 1,000. And right now I have 115 active participants. That's scaled across 3 regions, Mississippi, Texas, and Louisiana. And within that, it continuously grows. I work, like right now, I'm averagely working with 115 people a month, and it's consistently growing. So like one of the things that I can say the reason why people are more drawn to this is because it's a place where people can actually go and talk to someone, and it's free, completely free to the employee. It costs them nothing. And so that's the beauty of it. And they get to talk to me for 15 to 30 minutes, 1 to 5 times a month. So
Wow.
they can, it's kind of like free therapy.
That's so great. Do people come to talk to you about the things that are there? Does it also incorporate the nutritional aspect, or is it really
Yes.
focused on talking about what their ideas and goals and challenges are? Or is it more the
No.
nutritional health, that kind, what like side of that?
It is, I would say that it's completely surrounded by holistic healing. Like what it does is we start from the inside and work our way out. And so we have, like, for instance, I get them to kind of analyze what their relationship is with food. And then I teach them about the beauty of what food can provide them. And we do that over the course of a few months. So it's kind of, we start baby stepping it. I kind of get them to kind of understand where they are with their relationship with food. And then as they create more self-awareness with it, that's when I begin to teach them about the beauty of nutrition. And that's the whole goal with holistic health. It's a difference. There's a huge difference between being a nutritionist, where I provide them with just a bunch of information, and holistic, I kind of guide them into figuring it out on their own. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I can see how that can be totally effective, because how many people are spewed, I like it, the fire hose approach of like, here, this is what you need to do to be healthy, quote unquote. And it actually doesn't really incorporate the person, the human being, into the whole
Exactly.
process. Because if you tell
Go
me
ahead,
to
I'm
eat
sorry.
green beans and I can't stand green beans, it's not happening.
Exactly. And so that's why I meet each individual person where they are, and I help to kind of figure out where they want to go. And from there, I give them a non-judgmental space to talk about what they want to work on. And then from there, I just give them effective exercises, and I teach them about different topics. So the main topics I like to teach about are how to read ingredient labels, gut health, brain health, proper supplementation, anxiety, stress, depression. I teach them about how to grocery shop, why we should buy organic produce, about how to make small changes in their lifestyle. There's so many different topics that I teach these people, and it's all individualized to each person. So it changes with each person.
Wow, that's amazing. And another thing, I was just looking at the number. So you're working with 115 people per month. So that's better than 10%, 11% of your organization, which is higher than the national average. I'm wondering, does that seem to fluctuate? Do people like get what they want to in the program and then just keep going on their own, and then more people come in? How does that generally work?
So it's really kind of crazy. It's kind of like one and then just somehow another one just joins.
Yeah.
It's kind of how it works. It's just like the magic of how life flows. Like sometimes I'll have like giant spurts of people that graduate. That's kind of what I like to say. They graduate from the program and they're off on their own. But they never fully graduate. The beauty of the program is once you're completely done, you move to a quarterly type of check-in. So every 3 months we schedule a meeting, and it holds you accountable, and they also hold themselves accountable to sticking to their goals. So therefore we meet back up and we go over where they're at. And if they've run into another issue in their life, we rekindle the program and get them back on their feet. So it's kind of like a never-ending cycle.
That's fantastic. And do people find when they're doing the program, do they find they end up with like, do you kind of look at like where they started, and do they end up with more energy? Do they start to talk about how the difference is from doing this kind of program for them?
I think one of the most beautiful comments we've ever received, because we do surveys every single year, every single quarter we do a survey, and some of the surveys, like some of the most beautiful things I've seen is that they feel more enlightened after every session. They feel better, they have more energy, they feel more productive, they have more peace, they're creating more balance. Those are the top ones that I've seen. And then the other ones is that they've learned so much about themselves. They've learned so much about food. They've learned what to avoid. They've learned how to like help their kids. I had one lady that after just a couple of sessions, her kids were kind of like hyperactive.
Yeah.
And after just doing a few sessions of meditation with them, they began to like ask her to do meditation every single day. And it was just like such a cool experience to hear that. Let's see. So I would say that like people, like that would be probably the biggest thing. And that's why I wanted to talk about self-awareness today, is because that's one of the biggest components to the program, is that's what everybody leaves with, is way more self-awareness.
Yeah, actually everything that you've spoken to is really about that, honoring the person of who they are and where they're at. And that seems to be one of the greatest things that we can bring to anybody, is to bring a new level of self-awareness so that they actually want to stay with it.
Exactly. And it's I think one of the things I wanted to touch on too about where I work is I love that our culture allows our employees to be able to do and meet with someone like me every single day, to just get in touch with themselves and to better themselves every single day. It's such an amazing opportunity for employees to be able to do that. I'm so grateful for where I work. I say that a lot, but
that's
it's
fantastic.
A blessing.
So tell me a little bit more about the self-awareness meditation piece, because that's really the key of what we wanted to talk about today. But I really wanted to get the essence of like, how does that come together for employees, and what does that look like? So when you're looking at, so do you teach meditation as a group? How does that work?
So pretty much what I do is I do some group sessions with people. Like I'll schedule, I do master classes once a month on different health topics, and also I write articles twice a month. I do tons of different things that talk about meditation, and in the newsletters every single week, I'll either put a workout in there, or a guided meditation, or affirmations, or mindfulness exercises, anything to kind of stimulate the thought and remind employees to take a few minutes for themselves and to catch their breath and disconnect from work. I think the self-awareness and the meditation piece comes in with teaching employees about how to do it on their own. That's the key, is to with each individualized employee, I try to teach them about how to manage their time better. And the way they do that is by taking control of their schedule. So instead of in their downtime scrolling on their phone, or watching a YouTube video, or finishing their Netflix series, it's just taking 5 minutes to just sit in silence and to focus on their breathing. to journal about what they're feeling, to take a quick walk in the sunshine, to talk about what they're grateful for. Those little bitty self-awareness exercises that take 1 to 5 minutes is, I think, what's changing a lot of these people's perspectives on self-awareness and mindfulness.
And when you look at mindfulness, tell me more about your perspective of mindfulness and what that looks like and how you bring that forward for people.
So mindfulness to me is being able to be in touch with yourself and to be aware of how you actually feel in an honest way. Because a lot of the time we like to suppress how we truly feel with the feelings that we want to feel. And that's a mouthful, but it's true. Most people, they feel really terrible, but like, I'm fine, it's all good. And really in the inside, they just want to cry. And I think what mindfulness is to me is accepting yourself for who you are with where you are in life. Yeah. And being able to touch that. And I think that's, to me, is what mindfulness is all about.
Yeah. And so when we look at the crossover, and to me, this is always curious, when we look at mindfulness as one piece, and then we look at self-awareness as another piece, how do you bridge those two?
So it always starts with mindfulness, because we have to first be aware that we need to be mindful for us to be self-aware. And so it always starts with the mindfulness exercises. It always starts with just taking a few minutes every day to listen to yourself, to talk to yourself in a loving way. And it's all about the disconnection and the connection to silence. I think it's being able to take yourself into a quiet place. If you think about our ancestors for just a minute, they lived out in nature. They didn't have vehicles, they didn't have phones, they didn't have notifications. They didn't have medical bills coming in the mail. They didn't have all the distractions that we do today. And I think being able to disconnect ourselves from distractions is the beginning to mindfulness. And then the more that they practice that, and the more they put themselves in those types of situations, that's where self-awareness is born. It's just making it a responsibility and making it a habit.
And do you find that it's something people resist?
Yes. It has resistance at first, because it's just like, I don't have time.
Yeah.
I don't have the time. And what you teach, and the biggest thing about it is you give them you shape their idea of what time truly is. Instead of because I used to never have time to meditate. Never had time. I only had time in between sessions. I was on Instagram trying to market. I was on LinkedIn shooting emails. I was connecting with people. And I think the thing about it is that we have to be, even if it's just 5 minutes a day, just 5 minutes a day, taking that little pocket of time to do something for yourself makes a huge difference. And it's talking to people in that way that helps them to go, yeah, you're right. Maybe I can just take 5 minutes tomorrow and just breathe. It's that simple. And then it grows.
Yeah, it's kind of addictive when you start to learn silence, right?
Yes, it is. For sure, I'm definitely addicted to it.
Yeah, for sure. And it's kind of curious to look at. So when people start to become more self-aware, not only from the place of silence of how they feel inside, how does that trickle over to their desire to look after their bodies or their health? Or does it trickle over in your world?
I think it does in some instances. It never really necessarily starts out that way, but it eventually grows into that. Because once you start to become mindful and self-aware, you start to kind of realize wow, I really don't feel good. Why don't I feel good? I want to feel good. And then from that point, once they want to feel good, you teach them about how to love themselves. And then self-love and self-awareness are the two biggest components to healing. And so once you teach them about how to love themselves again, it manifests itself. It grows into whatever it needs to be for them. And that's the beauty of holistic healing.
Yeah. And are people really, I often talk with my clients and I say, you need to be kind to yourself. And they actually don't even have a sense of what that means. Do you come across the same thing like that? Like they got hit by a frying pan? What are you talking about?
Yes. At first, it's always kind of like that with being kind to themselves. It's about being able to give someone grace, and teaching themselves how to do that is a challenge. But once you kind of just talk to them, you give them that. I think one of the biggest things I like to say is I'm not their manager, I'm their friend. And that's what I always like to say. I'm not the health and wellness manager. I am your holistic healing buddy. When we talk, it's all about, hey, it's all about you. You talk about what you want to talk about, and we'll take it from there. And it just gives them space to just cry, express their emotion, frustrations, all those things. And by the end of it, they're ready to talk about what they want to work on. And then it just kind of grows from there.
That's actually a beautiful thing.
It is. I love it. It is such an awesome job.
Yeah, because I get the sense that that's the one thing that people are missing these days, is having someone to truly connect with in a very non-judgmental, open space that gives them a chance to really be them. Because even if you're married, but you're not always going to say everything to your spouse.
Exactly.
Or your boss.
Exactly.
And definitely maybe not your boss.
Exactly. Because and I think that's what makes this such an awesome opportunity for people to see, is that, like, I think that's what a lot of wellness programs were missing when I was doing my research, was that these wellness programs miss the component of human connection. They miss that one component. And being able to connect with someone can change your life forever. I mean, think about how when we meet at a conference, being able to talk to someone and just create conversation. If I never went to that conference, I wouldn't be doing this podcast.
That's true.
You know, and that's the beauty of being able to talk to someone, is to visually see how they feel.
Yeah, that's really, to me, it's really important. It's one of the things that I think has been pulled out of our society, is that human connection thing that is so important, even if it's not there to talk about the things that are troubling you, but even just to sit and talk with somebody and really connect to them about what's important to them and those kinds of things. It's so missing. And it's almost as though, when I look at it, it's almost as though people are so disconnected from themselves.
I would say that's why I don't really focus on nutrition and fitness. I have that component within the program, and it is a huge part of it. You know, nutrition and fitness and making healthy decisions. That's probably the number one biggest thing that I really and truthfully specialize in. But behind that, it's really and truthfully about getting in touch with themselves first, so they can focus on that. That's the biggest thing. And so that's why I think that a lot of wellness programs in America or around the world, a lot of their focus is just like, oh, give them this one diet plan, or give them this one meal plan, or just give them these guidelines and let them kind of figure it out for themselves. They have no one to guide them. They have no one to sit there with them and go, I'm really struggling to eat healthy. Like, I'm getting bloated from eating broccoli. What do I do? You know, and then they're having to take time out of their work to figure it out. And other than that, it's like, I'm eating bread and I love bread, but I can't, it's making me gain weight. What do I do? You know, and it's like being able to teach them about the inflammatory properties of gluten. Being able to teach them that, hey, you may need digest enzymes to properly break down fruits and vegetables.
Yeah.
And it's just having someone there to do that speeds up the process.
Yeah.
And it makes it easier for them.
For sure. And I imagine that having somebody that works in a space from no judgment and just looks at it from possibilities is really a big key to it.
Exactly. That's a huge component of it, because for me, I am a very optimistic person, but I'm also very real. You know, so like every emotion is valid to me. Whatever you feel it. You know, there's no judgment here for me.
Yeah, and we can't pretend that they don't exist when they do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think that's a lot of people's issues too, is they shut down in those types of situations when, in fact, a lot of people just need someone to talk to.
Yeah. And I think that that's really important, that human element, because when people are, what I have found in the work that I do, is that when people function from less emotional stress, that place where it's just like you need to get it out, and then they get back to a place of what is balanced and really true and unique to them, they are so less distressed and distracted.
Yes, completely. And I think that's one of the biggest things that I've noticed with the people I work with, is that they're way less anxious, they're way less stressed. They actually get excited to come to work. Their productivity is up, their energy is up, they're creating better relationships, and they're also progressing in their career.
Wow.
And that's one of the things that I've noticed, not just from the wellness program, but from the Dream Manager program, with people doing those things together. It's helped our employees progress in their career, which is, I think, is one of the things that a lot of companies struggle with is career progression or
Hmm.
job progression. And I think it's because a lot of employees are distracted and they're not able to connect with themselves, like you talked about, being distressed and disconnected.
Hmm.
And having programs to where employees can reconnect with themselves, it helps them to like have more ambition and want to have a better future for themselves.
Yeah. So do you get the sense, that's a really good point. Do you get the sense that over time, and I wouldn't want to even just put a time frame on it, that people are more and more becoming disconnected rather than connected?
I would say that I think that in society we are taking a shift. And we're taking a shift from the distracted and disconnected to, I think, moving towards more of internal connection, people working on their past traumas. If you notice in a lot of podcasts, and like in today, like if you go on Spotify, a lot of people are putting a lot of emphasis on mental health. And it's been a huge thing since 2020. So I think a lot of people are moving in that direction. I just think that it's at a point now where a lot of people are trying to make the decision on which direction they want to go. And I think, and truthfully, it's really about creating a relationship with technology after that, being able to actually disconnect, because most people are connected to their phone all day
I
long.
I was going to say creating a relationship is actually the meaning of relationship is distance. And I would say, how brilliant is that? Because the distance between technology and us, where we as human beings are the important element, not the
Exactly.
technology, you know?
Exactly. And it's really and truthfully about understanding the importance of technology and what it provides us as a tool. It's not a way of life. And I
Oh,
think that's the difference that we have to kind of get to. And I think that's where we're at. We're at that pivotal point where people are making that decision of like, oh, how much technology do I need in a day compared to like how much do I not? So I think it's just because there's people that are like completely no technology and no social media, no connection to the internet or anything like that, and they're just like self-aware and in their own little world. But then there's also the people that are super connected to the internet and stuff like that, and it's like, how can we come in the middle and use everything as a tool like we're supposed to? And I
hmm.
think that eventually we'll get there, but I think that that's kind of the tool, that's kind of the goal with it.
Yeah. Yeah. I look at it and wonder what it would take for people to actually get really more present to who and what they are and present to their own physical bodies, because it's fine. Like what the disconnect is they get caught up so much in their head, right? And
Yes.
that is the ease of like moving towards using technology all the time, because or being caught in that being in your head rather than being present. Because the more present, to me, that I found out, is the more present people are, the more they start making choices that are different than they would have if they were all stuck in their head.
Exactly. That is one of the most beautiful points, is that's where I want to get people, is because healthy living is not about how strict of a diet plan you can have, or the most extreme workout program, or the most exquisite amount of supplements or biohacking technologies. Really and truthfully, it's about being able to make healthy decisions completely and totally. It's being able to go, hey, is McDonald's a good decision or a homemade salad? What's going to be the best decision for me in this moment? And that's what self-awareness and presence actually gets you, because it teaches you how to go, wait, the nutrients in this salad are going to provide me with energy that are going to last me years of my life, whereas the McDonald's is going to last me 10 minutes of enjoyment. It's that instant gratification to the long-term goal.
Yeah. And do you find that when people do your program, they start to really recognize the differences, like start to actually veer away from the things that would be, we'll call it habitual, fast, easy, fast food. I'll get it because I have so much on my plate, so many things to do. Do you start to hear people like moving away from that
Of
naturally
course.
because they're being more self-aware?
Of course. I think that's one of the biggest points of the program, is that people really and truthfully, they start to go, they start to really work on themselves, like taking it very slowly. They start to incorporate these whole foods, and they start to notice that if like one meal makes them feel really good, and let's say they make a bad decision later in the day, grabbing something fast and easy, they notice they feel a little bit worse closer to the
Yeah.
end of the day, and they're like, well, if I had just made a better decision then, I would be okay. Well, how can I plan better to make sure that this works? And so
Yeah.
that's kind of what we work on, is and that's where we see the most results, is teaching people how to just take it slow, learn from your mistakes, and make small changes to your lifestyle, and then therefore it kind of just pivots over.
Wow. It's what you're doing is so inspiring to me, which is sort of what made me want to have a conversation with you like this, because it's so required.
Yes, I completely agree. And I think that, the more that I can like speak to people like you and get it out there in the world that companies need this, because I think one of my biggest things is like I come from a low income family. And I think one of the most powerful things is providing those people that can't afford holistic health or alternative medicine somebody that can teach them about the cheaper ways, or the easier ways of like getting in touch with themselves, because I mean, think about an average functional medicine doctor, what it costs, because most of them aren't covered by insurance. It's expensive. It's like so expensive, it's outrageous. And with people that have 5 and 6 kids, or a mortgage, school debt, they have those things that they can't go out and just do that. So I think it just kind of gets out there to those people that need help, that hey, it's possible.
To me, it's inspiring too, because we don't require functional medicine. I'm a doctor of natural medicine, so I get them people when they're already at the point where their life's decisions have taken them to a place where they actually need to do something differently to reverse their health issue, or be different, or live happier. What I'm hearing from you that's so great is that you can actually get them to a place where they don't actually require to end up being unwell.
Exactly. If we can prevent it, or at least work their way backwards and reverse it and get to the root, they can live a long and healthy lifestyle without ever having to go to a doctor. Or
just as an interesting thing, so do you think that with the way the world looks at health as being something that is attainable, or that our bodies don't look after us, we're kind of sitting ducks, and then we're going to wait until we need pharmaceuticals to get the symptoms removed, we'll call it. We'll just call it symptom removal. It's not health, but it's symptom removal. How do you see that shifting?
I see that shifting in a way of like, depending on the person, depending on where they are with their health, like especially with anxiety and depression nowadays, with a lot of people being on multiple antidepressants and anxiety medications, I think the more that we can get in front of their anxiety and depression and teach them how to deal with it through therapy, through EMDR, through mindfulness practice, through meditation, through taking better care of themselves, all those things, I think slowly the pendulum is going to shift from medication to alternative medicine. And I think that's for some people. Now, for people that have more severe things like post-traumatic stress disorder, or more severe trauma-based type of disorders, then I think medication plays a huge role in that. But outside of that, I think that we're on the rise of like getting away from medicine itself and teaching people how to take better care of themselves, so they can use food as medicine, which is the total goal.
Yeah, for sure. And it's interesting because I've spent now 10 years doing research on a bunch of different techniques in the world that change anxiety, depression, and stress, and even PTSD. And it always surprises me how quickly things can come about and change for people that people would think that normally wouldn't be able to even change it with pharmaceuticals. And yet there's all of these very amazing interventions. Like one of the things that I researched was access bars. And it reminds me how brilliant we are as individuals, and how brilliant our bodies are, given the opportunity to set itself up to heal itself, I would say.
I love, there's a quote that when I was in school, is if you let the body do its job, or if you get, wait, hold on, there's a quote. The body can heal itself if you give it half a chance.
Oh, totally.
You know,
Great
if you
quote.
give it half a chance, it can heal itself. And that is like from the head of the school. I think his name was Josh. His name is Josh something. I feel bad for not knowing his full name. But it was such an awesome quote, and it's just something I use a lot of. It's just kind of like, if you can just give it just some time and just some practice, you can heal yourself.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It doesn't have to be a dead end street for sure when it comes to that, when we have symptoms that we can't change them. And I think that, and the kinds of programs that you're doing and instituting, is really something that everybody needs to know about.
I completely agree.
Cool.
And I plan on sharing my message more and more.
That's fantastic. Is there anything else that you're going to add to your program coming up now that you have more information about what's working and what's not working? Is there something else that you see going forward that you would like to add that would be meaningful for people?
I have a lot of hopes and dreams with where I want to take the program. I think like right now, what all I do is I do individualized one-on-one sessions. I teach about balancing work and life. I do master classes once a month. I write articles twice a month, do newsletters once a week. I host health fairs in Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, spread throughout the year. We do wellness challenges. We have a regional discount page scattered out with 21 different regional discounts from different spas, gyms, chiropractors, dentistry offices, different types of things that we're starting to add to that list to try and get more people and small businesses in different regions an opportunity to grow their clientele. And I think eventually I want to have I'd love to have a gym or a facility on site, you know, for people to be able to visit and work out. It's one of my biggest goals is to have that for employees. That's a big expense, but that's something it's a dream, you know, so it's something to shoot for. What else? We do door prizes for employees that participate in wellness programs. We have an awesome wellness reward system. So like people that work with me, they get money back. So like we use the award co system, Origin, to where when they participate in the wellness program, they earn like 10 points starting out. And then for every 6 sessions that they work with me, they get 6 additional points. So it's like earning money working in the wellness program. When you go get your physical exams, wellness exams, stuff like that, you get points. Joining a gym, you get wellness points. Participating in a physical activity like a 5K or a marathon or any physical active event, you earn points. So it's just like having these different components and benefits to health and wellness helps to give people incentives to take care of themselves.
Yeah. And that's really a remarkable approach, because when I started, we started talking about really this whole idea that the corporation is the one that's responsible and they're not doing it. And what you're sharing with me is how you guys are doing it so the people actually become completely engaged and involved in their own health and well-being in a way different way than going, hey, it's your problem, you need to do it, and then not even do anything about it.
Exactly. And that's one of the things, another thing I'll add to working for Origin Bank is that's why they're the number 2 best bank to work for, is because they give their employees an opportunity to take care of themselves and to work on themselves and to build their dreams. I mean, I think our quote is our vision statements. Our vision is to combine the power of trusted advisors with innovative technology to build unwavering loyalty by connecting people to their dreams.
Yeah.
And that's one of the biggest things of taking care of someone.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Is there anything that you want to share about what you do with Origin Bank and where you want to go with your dreams that we haven't covered off yet?
I mean, I would say that of course, my dream is to own my own corporation where I have health coaches that do exactly what I'm doing for corporations.
Cool.
You know, and have my own practice, and that will be later on down the road. I want to own my own corporation. I don't know what that looks like yet, but it's in the future, you know, and I'm just kind of letting God and the universe take me where I am supposed to go. And I think I want to reach all the employees at Origin Bank at some point. I want to reach all of them. That's my goal, is to reach every single last one of them in some way, shape, or form. Even if I don't have a session with them, reaching them in some way is my goal.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. So great to talk to you today, and so
Yes.
inspiring, really inspiring to see the possibilities that are available within corporations and what can be done to contribute to people's health and well-being. And what I see as when people are healthy, when they feel well and they have energy, what it contributes back to the organization is enormous.
It is. It's insane. And I mean, I've only been doing this for a year and some change. So like we still have such a long ways to go of building this thing out and making it awesome. And I know it's gonna change the face of a lot of wellness programs, and I'm excited to see where it goes. It was lovely talking to you. Thank you for giving me the time today. I am so appreciative of this.
You are so very welcome. It's so great. And thanks everybody for joining us today.